Good morning, class. Hope you all are doing well. We'll continue with our chapter 1 with magnets. And we are left with only one topic now, and that is demagnetization. Okay. Fine. What do you mean by demagnetization? See the word demagnetization. It is made up of de and magnetization. De means to remove or to take away or to get rid of. So demagnetization means to remove or to lose magnetic properties of a magnet. Okay, a magnet without its magnetic properties. Okay, how can a magnet be demagnetized? How can a magnet lose its magnetic property or magnetic properties or magnetism? Right, a magnet can lose its magnetic properties if it is strongly heated on a flame. If we heat a magnet strongly on a flame, or we burn a magnet, try to burn it, it will lose its magnetism. Okay, if a magnet is dropped from a height, then also it can lose its magnetic properties. Or if it is hammered, right? If we hit it strongly with a hammer or a hard object, then it may lose its magnetism. Okay, in this way a magnet can lose its magnetic property. And one more case, it is if it is not stored properly. There's a way of storing magnets properly. So if they are not stored in that way, they may lose their magnetism after some time. Right? So this is called demagnetization. A magnet can lose its magnetic properties if it is strongly heated, if it is dropped from a height, it is hammered, or it is not stored properly. So this is known as demagnetization, and magnet is said to be demagnetized. Okay, such a magnet which has lost its magnetic property is known as demagnetized magnet. Clear? Now, next. So I've told you a magnet can lose its property if it is not stored properly. So how to store a magnet? Okay. A magnet tends to lose its magnetism after some time if it is not stored properly. And this is known as self-demagnetization. It will lose its magnetic property after some time if it is not stored properly. Okay, this is called self-demagnetization. Right? So it is essential to store magnets carefully so that they can retain their magnetism for a longer period of time. Okay, this is done for permanent magnets. Okay, so that permanent magnets can retain their magnetic properties for a longer period of time, they should be stored very properly. Okay, so how to store them? Storing a bar magnet. Check it out. Okay, how will we store a bar magnet? Bar magnets are always stored in pairs. See, they are always stored in pairs. Two bar magnets together with their unlike poles alongside each other. This thing is to be kept in mind. Their unlike poles should be alongside, north here, then south of the other magnet. South of this magnet, then north of the another magnet. Okay, they are stored in pairs with their unlike poles alongside each other. Yeah. They must be separated by a piece of wood. There should be a piece of wood between these two magnets. A wooden block is kept between these two magnets, which are kept with their unlike poles alongside. So now these two pieces of iron, see, check it out here, near the poles of both the magnets. Two pieces of iron called magnetic keepers. Remember this word, magnetic keepers, note it down. Okay, two pieces of iron called magnetic keepers are kept across their ends. Okay, across the poles. See here, two pieces of iron are kept. This is the right way to store bar magnets. Again, bar magnets are always stored in pairs, two of them together. Condition, their opposite poles alongside. If north pole of one magnet is here, then for another magnet it should be south pole. And vice versa. Yeah, there should be a wooden block in between the two magnets. Next condition, a piece of iron is kept across their ends, one here and one here. And what are these pieces of iron called? They are known as magnetic keepers. They keep the magnet safe. Okay, See, these are magnetic keepers and they are made up of iron. Right? Now this is the correct way to store a bar magnet. Now how to store a horseshoe magnet? Now storing a horseshoe magnet is, in case of horseshoe magnet, only a single piece of iron or magnetic keeper. This is also known as magnetic keeper. Is kept across its poles. Okay, it has two poles across one another. Here. Okay, so we just keep a single piece of iron across its poles, and this piece of iron is known as magnetic keepers. Fine. Okay, in this way we store a horseshoe magnet. So storing a magnet is very important. Fine, because if it is not stored properly, it may lose its magnetism. Right? This was our last topic of the chapter. With this we have completed our chapter. Okay, so now we'll take a look at the key takeaways, the important points that we have covered in this chapter. Then we'll try to solve worksheets. Right? Okay. Now, next. Key takeaways of the chapter are, first one, any material that has the property of attracting objects made up of iron, nickel, or cobalt is called a magnet. So how will you define a magnet? It is any material that has property of attracting objects made up of iron, nickel, or cobalt. The force that the magnet exerts is known as magnetic force. The force that magnet exerts on any magnetic object is known as magnetic force. And remember, magnetic force is a known contact force and it acts from a distance. Okay. Now next, magnetite or lodestone is a natural magnet. And how it was discovered, we have already learned. Right? Substances that are attracted by a magnet are called magnetic substances. Examples of magnetic substances are substances made up of iron, cobalt, nickel, like some coins, iron keys, etc. Then substances that are not attracted by a magnet are called non-magnetic substances. Okay, for example, wood, plastic, cloth, some metals like aluminium, copper, they are also non-magnetic. Next, a magnet that retains its properties for a long period of time is called permanent magnet. Okay, a magnet that retains its property for a long period of time is known as permanent magnet. And in other words, we can say a magnet that does not lose its property easily is known as a permanent magnet. And a magnet that does not retain its property for a longer period of time is a temporary magnet. That means it can lose its property. We can make a temporary magnet by using a bar magnet and a needle, rubbing a bar magnet on a needle. We have already seen the activity. Okay. Now the properties of a magnet. A magnet has two poles. They are north pole and south pole. Then magnetic poles always exist in pairs. Right? A monopole will never exist. Next point is magnetism is maximum at poles. Magnetic force is maximum at its poles. Okay, so the attraction will be maximum at the poles. More iron filings or more magnetic objects will be attracted at the poles of the magnet. Next property of the magnet is a freely suspended magnet always aligns in Earth's north-south direction. Okay, a freely suspended magnet always aligns in Earth's north-south direction. Why? We have seen it. I'll tell you again. Because our Earth itself behaves like a huge bar magnet. Our Earth itself is a huge bar magnet. Its magnetic north pole is near geographical south and magnetic south pole is near geographical north pole. That is why a freely suspended magnet always aligns in geographical north-south direction. Geographical north means it is magnetic south, because magnetic north, bar magnet's north will be attracted by the magnetic south. So it will align towards geographical north. Magnetic south is geographical north and magnetic north is geographical south. That is why freely suspended magnet aligns in Earth's north-south direction, because opposite poles attract and like poles repel. A magnetic compass is an instrument that is used to find directions. Okay, a magnetic compass is an instrument that is used to find direction. magnetic compass. Instrument, it has a magnetic needle which points to north-south direction, and other directions are also marked on it. And check it out here. This is our Earth. Earth is also a huge bar magnet with its south pole near geographical north and north pole near geographical south. That is why a freely suspended magnet always aligns in Earth's north-south direction. Clear? A piece of iron can be magnetized by using a bar magnet. If we take a iron needle, okay, and rub it in one direction, we just rub it from one end to other, then lift our hand and again rub it from the same end along the same direction for about 30 to 40 times. It will get magnetized and will get converted into a temporary magnet. Okay, now a magnet has several uses in our daily lives. We have already seen the uses in our daily lives. For example, refrigerator doors have magnets. Magnets are used in credit cards, ATM cards, etc. Magnets are used in audio and video tapes. Right? MRI technique, magnets are used. And scrap yards, magnets are used to just sort out magnetic materials from non-magnetic rubbish. Right? A magnet can lose its properties if it is heated, hammered, dropped from a height, or stored improperly. This one is important. And what is this called? This is known as demagnetization. What does it mean? Demagnetization means a magnet can lose its property if it is heated strongly, if it is hit by a hammer, or if it is dropped from a height, or it is not stored properly. Clear? In this way, a magnet can lose its magnetic properties. That's all for the chapter. And now we'll just try to solve one or two worksheets here. Check this out. Fine. Okay, fun with magnets. First one is multiple choice question. Observe the pictures A and B given in the figure carefully. Here is a car with a magnet here, north pole here, south pole here, north pole, south pole, north, south, south, and north. Okay, fine. Which of the following statement is correct for the above given pictures? Check it out. In A, cars 1 and 2 will come closer. In A, cars 1 and 2 will come closer. And in B, cars 3 and 4 will come closer. In A, cars 1 and 2 will move away from each other, and in B, cars 3 and 4 will move away. In A, cars 1 and 2 will move away, and in B, 3 and 4 will come closer to each other. In A, cars 1 and 2 will come closer to each other, and in B, 3 and 4 will move away. Check. Now see, here it is south pole and here it is north pole. They are unlike poles. So unlike poles will attract. So they will come closer. In A, cars 1 and 2 will come closer. And in B, see here is south, here is south. Both are south, that means like poles will repel. So in B, cars 3 and 4 will move away. So which is the right option? D is the right option. In A, cars 1 and 2 will come closer to each other, and in B, 3 and 4 will move away from each other. Clear? Now we'll move to our next question. See, the arrangement to store two magnets is shown by figure A, B, C and D in figure 13.2. Which one of them is correct arrangement? We have seen this right now. Okay. So, see, here is the arrangement of two magnets. I'll just zoom it out so that you can see it properly. Okay. Here is the arrangement A, B, C Here it is. No, it's all not clear, I guess. No? North, south, south, north. Let it check. This is north, south, north, south. Huh. This is north, south, this is south, north. This is north, south, this is north, south, this is north, south, this is south, north. Okay. So how to store bar magnets? We have seen right now there were three conditions. They should be stored in pairs. So all of them are in pairs. Second conditions were their opposite poles should be alongside. See, so opposite poles are alongside in this B and D. Fine. Opposite poles are alongside in B and D. And next condition was there should be a wooden block in between the two magnets that are kept with their opposite poles alongside. So where is the wooden block? In B or in D? Wooden block is in B. Okay. And in D there is a metal plate. Metal plate or the iron plate, piece of iron should be kept across the poles, not in between the magnets. Okay. So B is the right option. Here. Now done. Now three magnets A, B and C were dipped one by one in a heap of iron filings. Figure 13.3 shows the amount of iron filings sticking to them. Check this out. There are three magnets A, B and C. And see, the amount of iron filings is maximum in a magnet which is A, in magnet A. So strength of these magnets will be. So which is the strongest magnet here? Which one is the strongest magnet here? Since the iron filings, most of the iron filings are stuck on the ends of magnet A. So A is the strongest, B has less iron filings and C has very little. Okay, so strength of A is greater than B and which is greater than C. So which is the right answer? A is the correct option. A has greater magnetism. Okay. Next question. How can you identify the north pole of a magnet? Another magnet. How can you identify the north pole of a magnet? North pole of a magnet can be identified by, first option is another magnet having its poles. How is it? Check this out. Okay. North pole of a magnet can be identified by another magnet having its poles marked as north pole and south pole. Yes. Another magnet, no matter where the poles are marked or not, using a iron bar, or D, using iron fillings. So how can you find out the poles of a magnet? We can find out the poles of a magnet. See, there are four options. Another magnet with the poles marked north pole and south pole. Another magnet where poles are not marked by using iron filings or by using another bar. What was that option? So which option is the right one? Option number 1 is right. So what was the option number 1? It was another magnet having its poles marked as north pole and south pole. See, we have one magnet, its poles are not marked. We don't know which is the north pole and which is the south pole. Right? We'll take a magnet which has both the poles marked on it. We'll take one end of one. First, we'll take south pole of magnet near the unknown magnet. Poles which are unknown, poles of that magnet are not known. We'll take it along. If it attracts, that means south attracts north, so it will be north pole. So if it repels, that means the other magnet has south pole at that particular end. In this way, the other end will become the north pole. In this way, we can identify the poles of a magnet. Okay, see here. description is given. North pole of a magnet can be identified by using another magnet marked as south pole and north pole, so that we can use either of the pole to identify. Like poles repel and unlike poles attract. Okay. Now next, a bar magnet is immersed in a heap of iron filings and pulled out. Amount of iron filings clinging to the bar magnet north pole is almost equal to the south pole. North pole is much more than the south pole. North pole is much less than the south pole. Magnet will be same all along its length. Amount of iron fillings clinging to the magnet will be same along its length. No, it will be same on the north pole and south pole. It will be maximum at the poles, and both the poles will have almost same number of iron filings. So iron filings attracted by both the poles will be equal. Now very short answer questions. Fill in the blanks. When a bar magnet is broken, each of the broken part will have dash poles. If a bar magnet has two poles, north pole and south pole, if it is broken, will it have only one pole? One will have north, another will have south? No. Both the pieces will have two poles. Okay? Two poles. In a bar magnet, magnetic attraction is dash near its ends, more, or maximum near its ends, or maximum at the poles. Okay? Yeah. Paheli and her friends were decorating a class bulletin board. She dropped the box of stainless steel pins by mistake. She tried to collect the pins using a magnet. She could not succeed. What would be the reason for this? Because stainless steel is non-magnetic. It is not attracted by, you can try it yourself at home. You can just try to cling a magnet over a stainless steel utensil. Check it out whether it attracts or not. Okay, stainless steel is a non-magnetic material. It will not be attracted by magnet. So she will not be able to collect the pins using a magnet. How would you test whether tea dust is adulterated with iron powder or not? How can you check it out? It is so simple. You just can you can take a bar magnet and try to just, this can be detected by using the bar magnet. Iron being magnetic material will get attracted to the magnet and hence will prove the adulteration of the tea dust. If there is some iron mixed in tea dust, it will be attracted by the bar magnet and you can separate it out, and this way you will be able to find out whether it is adulterated or not. It adulterated means it is contaminated. कुछ मिलावट तो नहीं है उसमें iron powder की. Okay, you can just move a bar magnet in the tea dust or tea powder. If some iron dust particles gets attracted to the magnet, that means it has iron in it. It has been adulterated. Next, Bujo dipped a bar magnet in a heap of iron filings and pulled it out. He found that the iron filings got stuck to the magnet as shown in the figure. Which regions of the magnets have more iron filings sticking to them? Which regions? Poles of the magnets have more iron filings sticking to it. What are these regions called? Both the ends of the magnet has more iron filings attached to it, and these regions are called the poles of the magnet. Okay, these are called the poles of the magnet. Clear? Okay, that's all for today. With this, we have come to the end of our chapter. So just I'll be uploading the pics of the textbook also. So just keep reading and start preparing notes, simple notes, one-liners for the topics, for some headings or titles or the keywords, and remember the main points. Fine. That's all. Have a good day. Bye.